It's like 15. It's like 15 minutes off. It's not quite the hour. Like
Yeah,
that
right.
should be a new time zone. Realtor standard time.
Yeah, right.
That's really
That's why you
sad.
got to schedule everything for 12 minutes before the hour.
Well, we'll get started and we'll just get rolling. I'll kind of tell you a little bit of my story. For guys who don't know me, my name's Andre Lafountain from Atlanta, Georgia. I like to share, so growing up, I was one of those kids that was always getting into trouble at school, even got kicked out a few times and was headed down the wrong path. But until I met the girl of my dreams at age 16, and she straightened me out, and I didn't make it through high school graduation, but I knew I would never make it through college. I really didn't just love school, and but I was entrepreneurial and I wanted to run my own business. So I bought my first business when a small restaurant when I was 19 years old. I ran that for about 3 years, but ultimately transitioned out of that industry because it was 7 days a week, 16 hours a day. And I figured out that I just bought myself a job. But I had the opportunity to sell that business for twice what I paid for it. So I quickly found out that, hey, I might like this real estate gig. So I got my real estate license when I was 22. But being so young, I knew it would take me some time to build up my business. So that same year, I also accepted a job at a local pharmaceutical plant where I worked full time Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight. So I could sell real estate every day until 4 o'clock. So I kept that schedule, working two full-time jobs. And it took me 7 years to go from 0 to 40 transactions a year with no outside help. But I kind of hit a ceiling. So in November 1998, I invested into myself and hired a real estate coach. And the next year went from 40 deals to 79 units. And then to 109 units by the second year. So because I surrounded myself with people who were at the levels that I wanted to achieve, it was a game changer, right? So in 2000, I left that pharmaceutical plant, opened up my own office with my partner. And then over the next 9 years, my partner and I were selling we had a couple small teams and we were selling about 300 homes a year consistently. So I thought we were doing really well, and financially we were, but man, I was still working 12 to 16 hours a day. What I loved about real estate was, I was my own boss and I could, control my own schedule and make my own decisions. But man, I wasn't seeing my kids, right? And and by the way, I got married and to my high school sweetheart in 1992, had a couple of kids, so you can throw that into the mix. But in 2009, that coaching company that helped us become so successful offered me a position to work for them here in Atlanta, Georgia. So that was my chance to get to sit down 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. coaching job and have a normal, pace life. And I thought that was going to be good for me. But so I moved to Georgia. I helped that coaching company go from 100 agents to 498 agents over the next 9 years. And I actually planned on retiring from that company. But one day, the boss came in and told me he was changing my pay plan and it dropped my income significantly. So the good Lord told me at 49 years old to get back into real estate and kind of start from scratch. But because I was consistent. So when I got back into real estate, I hadn't sold a house in 9 years because I was a coach for 9 years, right? So I knew it was going to take a minute to get my business up and running again. So for the first the first 2 years, I got connected to the first 6 months to a friend in Tennessee, and I was an inside sales agent for him, just making phone calls. So I said, hey, give me just a small salary. And once I get my income up there, I'll give you notice and leave. And so I did that for 6 months, but working 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. calling leads for him. And then I started calling Jay Kinder and Al Stasic, right, to do three-way calls and Zooms to share my, the EXP opportunity to people. And because I was doing that so much, Jay and Al offered me a position to work with them. So of course, I gave my partner notice or my friend notice and started working for Jay and Al because it's just a good alignment. And I worked with them for a year and a half until I could get my income up there. So within a year and a half, I was my passive income was 10,000 a month, and within 2 years it hit 15,000. 2.5 years, I was over 30,000 a month. And the best part is, man, we're just getting started. So I believe that in every real estate agent's life, if you have worked hard enough and long enough, that at some point your focus changes from active income to passive income. And my vision is just to help every agent that we partner with to help them make that transition, so their passive income is much higher than their everyday expenses and bills, so they can ultimately be financially free. So when the day comes that they need to or want to slow down, they can, and they can do what they want, with who they want, anytime and where they want. And when we get our income to where we need it to be, where be able to do that, right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of my background, my story. Just wanted to share that with you. And we'll open it up. If you want to open it up for questions now, we can, or I can just kind of give you some of the things that I did to get here, and we can kind of go from there.
So you took a ISA position calling leads. Were those leads buyers and sellers, or were those leads agents?
The first 6 months was buyers and sellers with my friend in Tennessee. So I was just calling buyers and sellers, setting up appointments for him and his team. He had a team of like 25 agents. He had 2 inside sales agents, and I was his third. And he knew I could help him grow, his business, and it was a good fit for both of us. So I did that for 6 months. And then when I started working for J&L, of course, I was calling real estate agent leads from LinkedIn and mostly was from LinkedIn, that were open to hearing more about an opportunity. And now you would think that these people that were calling on the LinkedIn leads, that they would knew J&L, right? Because they're kind of a big deal. 95% of the people never even heard of them. They didn't know who they were, but they were open to an opportunity. And then, I'd call when I was an inside sales agent calling for J&L. I just had a script and asked them, hey, have you heard of Jake Kinder, Michael Reese, and Al Stasik? And most of them said no. So, well, let me give you share some info. And I had a script and just kind of shared their background, so they knew that Jay was number 2 in Coldwell Banker, selling 530 homes a year, et cetera. So they knew, hey, these are someone that might be able to help me, right? And then I would send them a video that the guys did, their partner with us video. That's what worked for them. And so it painted a bigger picture of that these guys were a big deal, and set up the appointment. And then they would, share the opportunity. So while I was doing that for basically 2 years as an inside sales agent, I was working 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. calling leads for those guys, for somebody else. So I compare that to any of you real estate agents that are in the field right now. You're running around, your head cut off, showing houses, selling houses, and training your teams and doing all those things, 9 to 5 and sometimes longer. But I encourage you, because that's what I was doing. But on the weekends, evenings, every chance that I got, I would call real estate agents, right? And then share the opportunity. And that first 2 years, I was just sending the videos. I didn't have time to do Zooms. I would just, send the video. But you are chasing people, right? You're chasing people to watch that video. About, 40, 50, only maybe 40%, I think, actually watch the video the first time. You have to keep calling them, hey, if you send it to them with the system that we have that tracks the videos, if they watched it or not. But if you told them you're going to call them, tomorrow at 2 o'clock, you call them tomorrow at 2 o'clock either way. And then say, hey, thanks for agreeing to watch the video. I really appreciate it. Tell me what you like best. And then they fess up and say, sorry, I didn't watch it or whatever. And then you got to set the appointment again. So once I started working for myself, and I gave Jay and Al notice that, I didn't, we hit the goal, and I could, work for myself now. Then I started instead of sending the video, I did what Brent Gove did to build his business, and would schedule a Zoom. So I scheduled the Zoom, and then on when we got them on the Zoom, then play the video, play the Brent Go video for solo agents. And then if they were team leader or broker owner, I played the video that Jay and Al did that talked about teams and independence. And then once the video was done, then just ask them, what they like best. And then they start telling you what they like. And then you can spend a couple of minutes on whatever it is they liked. I mean, if they like the training, the video will talk about the 50, 60 hours a week of training that EXP offers. But because we're, with Jay and NAEA, we can elaborate a little bit and say, yeah, what's awesome about the training, besides the 50, 60 hours of training that EXP offers, we also are able to offer all the training through NAEA that people are paying, 25 grand a year for, but we actually get it at no cost. And you can maybe show them the back office of NAEA. If they like the stocks, share with them about stocks. So you might take a couple of minutes to share a little bit of whatever it is that they're excited about, but that's it. Once they start asking a bunch of questions, you can't answer all the questions. You can answer one or two, but after that, you definitely want to say, hey, that's a great question. I'm sorry, I know, I only asked for 30 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever you asked for. And I got to run to another appointment as well. But the best person to answer that question, for you is X. And you elaborate on who X is. That's somebody that's one of your senior business partners. Could be Jay or Al, could be, Veronica, could be whoever is, your senior business partners above you. And then you get them on a Zoom, and you got to let the other people, your senior business partners, answer their questions because they've been doing it longer. They know how to do it better. And it's just the process to make it duplicatable, right? Because even if you've been in EXP 5 years and you know all the answers to their questions, well, what if you're talking to a person that, the person's here and you're up here? So you answer all their questions. They may say, hey, great, thanks. I see it looks pretty good, but I don't think it's for me. Now, a couple reasons. You may have answered all their questions, so they're thinking it's not for them, but they don't know what questions not to ask, right? Or maybe we didn't mention anything about health insurance, and that could be a big deal for them, but they didn't think about asking for it. It wasn't really mentioned too much in the video, or they could have missed it because it's only a second. So people are, when you're talking to some people, sometimes they're just trying to figure out, okay, why won't this work for me? Because they don't want to move. They don't want to make to make a move. And they're trying to decide, just find out enough information so they can discount it. Now, how can you, if you're going to make a move to another big corporate job or whatever it might be, there's a lot of time, effort, energy taken to make a decision if you're going to make a move in any industry. It doesn't have to be real estate, right? So how can someone watch a 20-minute video, answer a dozen questions, and then make a decision? Well, they're just, because they want to not have to make the move. So it's super important that you don't answer their questions. They have time now between now and the time they talk to your senior business partner, maybe to start Google some things. You can send them another link to one of your, to some EXP websites or whatever, so they can start doing some due diligence. And then when you get your partner on the call, then they'll have more questions, and then they're going to tell them their story. And the more stories they hear, the more, opportunity is that they're going to see what we're offering, that it could be right for them. The other thing is, if you, like I said, if the person's here and you're up here, they may say, well, geez, Daniel, you've been in real estate 10 years and you're kind of a rock star compared to me. I just been in real estate for a year or two. I can't do what you just did. I can't answer all these questions. I don't want to answer all those questions, right? So
please record your message when you have finished recording.
Let me just mute her. So they're thinking, I can't do that. But if you do the process properly, and all you did wasn't intrigue them, that's our job, to be a great agent attractor, to build your revenue share, your passive income, is to be the best intriguer. You intrigue them enough to get on a Zoom with you. Then you play the video that makes the most sense to play and let the video do all the work, right? And then get them on a 3-way call or Zoom with your senior business partner and let the senior business partner do all the heavy lifting. So what happens at the end of that call, some people will still need a lot more information. And many times you need to get them on with a second and a third and a fourth call. I mean, I've had people on 10 different calls with your senior business partners, then maybe someone in leadership at the company, when they get real serious and they want to look at the numbers, get them up to the financial girl, Ashley, at the company that goes through numbers. So it's a process. It takes time. But it's on their time. For us, you're thinking, man, why don't they get this, or why it's taking so long? Hey, life gets in the way and everyone's at a different place. So you just need to go at their speed. And because if you start pushing too hard, then they're going to run away. Right. But if you follow that process, then that agent, when they get off that phone call with your senior business partner, thinking, I didn't even know that this was about maybe making a move to another company. Never even thought about it because I love where I'm at. Right. But yeah, it just made sense of what they just shared with me with everything going, cloud-based, it makes business sense. Right. And then they find out, geez, they don't have healthcare at where they're from, what company they're at. They don't have, stocks, they don't have ownership, and all the beautiful revenue share and all the beautiful things that we have that they don't have. They start thinking, this could be a good fit. Right. And so they're thinking, hey, now I'm possibly thinking about maybe making a move. And what did he do? I mean, all he did was he called me up. I hadn't talked to him for a while, but he called me up out of blue. We talked for a couple of minutes about life and family, whatever. And then he asked me if I was open to hearing about, something he's super excited about, that's changed his real estate business. And he got me on a Zoom. He showed me this video and talked to me for a couple of minutes. And then he got me on the phone with this Jay Kinder guy or this Al Stasic guy or whoever. And now I'm thinking about making a move. What did Daniel do? He didn't really do a whole lot. He just connected me with other people. And they can think, well, geez, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now if you might have a big producer on the line, right? But they're so busy. If you answer all their questions, they're thinking, man, I ain't got time for that, Daniel. If this is what it takes to build a revenue share, and make this income that they're talking about, I'm out. I just want to sell houses. Right. But when you didn't spend a lot of time and you had your business partners answering questions and such, then, they can do that. The other thing I share with people, especially about time, is remember, I was working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Right. So I was just doing this part-time on the weekends and evenings and such. But I was consistent. That's the goal. That's the deal. You got to be consistent on a daily basis. My goal is to talk to 2 new people a day and get an appointment to get on a Zoom. If I just couldn't get them on a Zoom, they're not willing to, then I would send a video. But sending the video, getting them to agree to watch it and or scheduling a Zoom, that counts as an appointment. So sometimes you may have to call 10 people to talk to 2, right? Or 15 or 20. It just depends. And you leave messages each time, right? Hey, this is Andre. Daniel, I'm calling because I got your name from a good friend of mine. I called him and said, I need a great agent in Orlando. And he told me you're the only person that I should talk to. Here's my number. Call me back. That's it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it's somebody that the script is a little bit different. Hey, Daniel, it's Andre. We met at the, Tom Ferry coaching program there back a year or 2 ago in Las Vegas. I kept your card, man. I need a great agent in, wherever he's from Tennessee. I thought of you, give me a shout back. They think it's kind of probably a referral or something, right? But you get them on the phone and that's all there is to it. Now you could be showing houses all day, right? So you're showing, 3 different buyers, 10 different houses in a day or whatever it might be. And as long as they're not in a car with you, you should have your list with you, right? We tell everybody, have your top 100 people on a list that you can start calling. Where do you find them? Right from your cell phone, usually. Go down through your cell phone and all the real estate agents that you've done business with over the years, done deals with, whatever. You get them on a list. I put it on a one subject notepad, just first name, last name, phone number, and what city or state that they're in. So you're not calling them, at 6 in the morning if it's in California or whatever. And in between house to house, you can be calling these agents, right? Now, another great thing when you're showing houses, actually, you should be calling the agents back of the house you just listed. The example I just gave you was actually, if you're, just out and about running errands, doing something else, you're calling those people. But when you're showing houses, how about call the listing agent back and say, hey, and most of the time you got to leave a message, right? They don't answer their phone 99% of the time. Say, hey, Jeffrey, this is Andre. I just showed your house at 123 Main Street to one of my buyers. They like this, and this, but they really need their main bedroom on the first floor. That's what they're really hoping for. But let me ask you, do you have any other properties that might meet their criteria? Right now, if it's a voicemail, actually, you're just going to say who you are. You just showed the property, call me back so I can give you feedback, and that's it, right? You don't give them the feedback. You tell them to call back so you can give it to them. And then when they call you back, obviously give them the feedback and then say, hey, it may not be a perfect fit for them, but this is what they're looking for. And you give them a little information and say, hey, do you have any properties in your pocket? You have any coming soon listings that might be hitting the market soon? Or maybe, some off-market properties that they know might be interested if fits their criteria, just enough to get a little bit of conversation going, right? And then
what you've done by doing that is you went from just showing a house and having zero relationship with that agent to showing the house, making a phone call to give them feedback, and becoming a little bit more memorable to that listing agent. So if you called that person back 2 weeks later, he would know who you were rather than just sometimes that text message you get that so-and-so requested a showing on your listing, you never really pay attention to who it is. If you just make yourself known a little bit by this exchange and also show, some enhanced professionalism in giving that kind of feedback, making a phone call to give feedback.
Right. Same thing with if it's your listing and you have 25 showings, a day or whatever it might be. Now, if you have showing time and systems in place that people do give you feedback, that's fine. You can still call the person back and say, hey, I noticed you showed my property on 123 Main Street. I got your feedback. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I wanted to share, maybe you have another listing that's similar to that one. Say, hey, I wanted you to know about another property that's coming on the market soon that might meet your client's needs. Give me a shout back. Or if that's not true, you don't have something coming up, you can still thank them for sharing the information with you, but you had a few other questions. Or maybe you say, hey, I see your name all over the place on other properties. It looks like you're really strong in a certain subdivision. Man, I got a buyer that's really hot for that subdivision. Do you have anything coming on? Give me a shout back, whatever excuse. So you can kind of build a little bit of a bridge to get them on the phone. And then once you get them on the phone, you can say, hey, I've been working on this, and you got to get a script that feels comfortable, that's true. And you can kind of find your groove. But a lot of times I tell people is, hey, I'm working on a real estate project in, Timbuktu, wherever they're from. And I need a really great agent from that market. And I thought of you, or I saw you online. It could be a complete stranger, but I'm looking for an agent in this city. I saw you online. I thought you might be a good fit. Are you open to have a conversation? If it's no, then it's no, and you move on. But most of the time it's, yeah, sure. And then I'll say, hey, give me 60 seconds and let me give you a little bit of background about myself. So you know who the heck I am, and a little bit of background. And then you can give me a little background on yourself as well. And then I'll tell you about, the real estate project that I'm kind of working on. And then you give them your background, tell them, a little bit about your real estate business. And then they do the same. And say, yeah, I'm working on real estate projects, got multiple streams of income, some amazing technology, got a solid business plan, and just looking for a few people that are, humble, but really hungry to grow their business and smart. Like I said, saw you online, thought you could be a good fit. What I want to share with you is a big deal. It's been a game changer for me. It's 90% visual. I can't just send you a 5-minute video. But I would like to do, if you're open to it, is just jump on a Zoom. Won't take that long, maybe 30 minutes. I'll normally schedule an hour in my calendar for you, just in case you have a bunch of questions after. And I never want anyone to feel like, they're being rushed. So, but it shouldn't take more than 30 minutes. When would be a good day, today or tomorrow or this week, that we can get together on a quick Zoom and see if we could be a good fit? And then maybe they just do it and they schedule it. Or tell me a little bit more. The high D personality doesn't want to waste your time. They kind of push a little bit more for more information. You can say, hey, I get it. I know it's a little bit vague, but what I want to share, it's got 5 different pillars to this thing. The biggest pillar for me has been the referrals. Man, I get paid on 10, 25 referrals a month on deals that I don't even touch. In the last 6 months, my income just on these referrals has been between 10,000 and 20,000 or whatever it's true. Now, maybe you can't say that yet. But if you can say, instead of say you can say you're we, hey, because of these because of
You could say our team, like our team, even our team, if we go up a level, our EXP network, which, let's say Todd's network, our team, because we're all, on the same team. That's the next wave alliance. So so yeah, you could leverage yourself, or you could go a level up, or you could go 2 levels up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll tell people other people's stories, like one of my partners that's below me, Pierre, he was a broker owner of his own independent company. I wouldn't tell him that to get the appointment. This is afterwards, right? But I'm just saying, you're telling stories. Jeffrey, did you have a question?
No, I was just waving to God on that
Okay.
referrals that you were getting, all the referrals, and saying over here.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Yes. So,
I'm having now, my revenue shares, I'm getting paid on a minimum of 200 deals a year. 200 deals a month now. And it's been as high as 300. And of course we know people in our partners that are getting paid on thousands, right? But no one's going to believe we're getting paid on 300 referrals a month. And referrals are just the revenue share checks, right? But you can't say revenue share. They don't know what that is, but everyone knows what referrals is, right? So
yeah, that's a good spin on language also, how to increase your referral income. Because with every revenue share check you get, that's a referral check. Basically, you're getting paid a referral fee on a transaction that closed.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So for some people, I think when we invited the folks who are on here, we were sharing that. How many people do you have in your EXP organization?
Me personally? Today, or as of yesterday, 722. That's the other thing I want to share with you guys too, to encourage you. My first year, I only had 13 people on my first level, 37 total. Okay. I only got, in my first 3 months with EXP, I only brought in 1 agent from California, Chuck. And in the 3rd month, Chuck sold a house. I got paid like $408. Okay. Then the next 2-3 months after that, so now I've been in EXP 6 months, I only brought in 3 people. Brian from California and Pierre from Canada, my very first Canadian that came over. I hadn't talked to Pierre in probably 7 years, but I called him. He remembered me from a coaching program that we were in before. He was open to having a conversation. And, at that time, I just sent him the video and then just answered and then followed back up. And then got him on the call with Al. Just did exactly what I told you, right? And at first, Pierre's like, man, I just had my best year ever. I'm an independent broker owner. I have my own company. Just put a new $10,000 sign up front on my office building that I own. I got 13 agents, sold about 250 plus homes this year. And he personally sold like 125 himself. So he's rocking. I can't make any kind of move. And I'm like, I understand. I'm just, giving you the information to, get your feedback. But he's a smart guy. And afterwards, he was looking at videos. I sent him more information. I asked him if I could send him more information, send him some videos, other videos to look at. And then he was keeping himself up at night watching videos and Googling it. He even called the Canadian RICO board to find out if this thing was legal, because he never heard of EXP and he never heard nothing about it, right? And of course, found out that it was all in the up and up. And for the first 30 days, I follow up a couple of times, and his questions, his comments were why he couldn't do it. But then one day he called up and said, well, how does this work? What if I did this or that? So now he's asking me questions about possibly making something happen. And I got him on the phone with probably 5 different people that were at his level or much higher. And actually Al Stasik started answering his questions more, and he was more involved with Pierre than I was, because Pierre would call him directly afterwards for quick questions. And Al definitely helped me, put all that together. So, yeah. And what's exciting is how we've changed his life. He's been in the company about 2.5 years now. Pierre, he went from his whole team doing like 250 deals and him doing like 125 with 13 agents. Last I heard a few weeks ago, he's at 40 agents in his company and 400 in his organization. And he did 550 homes last year, and he'll do maybe 700 this year. But the beautiful thing for him is he was working 80 hours a week, selling 125 homes. Now he's selling about 6 homes a year. But because of the revenue share and his team, EXP team, he's now been able to work so much less and give all the deals that he would normally do to a lot of his agents. And then he's helping them grow, but he's still making a ton of income from all the splits and such, and the revenue share, the stocks, et cetera. So it's changed his life and a lot of his agent's life. But to get back to what I was sharing, my first 6 months, I only brought in 3 people. At the end of my first 12 months, I had 13, because some of the people called originally, started coming, and 37 at the end of the first year. I'm not setting any records on fire, right? But I was consistent, calling 2 people a day. And that's 5 days a week. So your goal is to talk to 10 people and show them the information every week. And by Friday, if I didn't have my 10, I was working half day on Saturday and trying to get my 10. And I didn't get them all every time. Sometimes it was, 6 or 7 or 8, but the goal was 10 a week. And I did that for that whole first year, but then I kept doing it the whole second year as well. So it's not a get rich quick deal, but this is a get wealthy over time deal if you're consistent. So by the end of the second year, I'm looking at my wealth chart over here. I had 35 people in my first level. So the first year is about 1 a month average. The second year was 2 a month average, but my total team was 281. Okay. And now you're making like 15, 20 grand a month. And then the third year, I just hit my third year in February. And my personal is only 40. It was 41, actually 1 drop. So I'm at like 40. So that means in the last year, I only brought on like 5 agents. Now that's not really good. I'm not proud of that, to be honest with you, but I'm spending a lot of time helping my team members grow. So I'm not focused all on myself like I was. I'm helping my team grow. But I got to do more to pull that up. But the exciting thing, by the end of year 3, I was at 669 agents on my global team. And today, like I said, 720 something. But it's only because of the consistency and the time factor. But we're doubling like every year, right? And that's what happens.
And like you said, did you say you have 40 people total in your front line?
40 on my front level, yes. Only 26 qualified. So there's always it's about, I don't know, half or close to half that, and most people's organizations that aren't qualified. which sounds crazy to me, but it is what it is. So the goal is, you need to always be looking for, active agents that are selling houses, right? If they're not selling, no one's making income. But you could talk to that part-time person that only sells, one house a year and he doesn't do much, but he opens a door to a friend that's a rock star that ends up joining, right? I had a guy that came on, he only brought on one agent, only one. The guy he brought on his name's Gary, and Gary's a rock star. And in the first year, Gary brought on 50 to 75 people.
Wow.
And that's all on my level 3. Gary's on level 2. All these people are on level 3. I really have about 3 big leaders that are actively trying to do agent attraction. And I got probably 10 or 15 that, they're working on it. They're getting there. They got 5, 10 people, maybe 15 at the most. Most people, only have a handful, but you'll end up over time finding a leader that's going to push you out of the way and just move forward. And I got 3 people doing that so far. And it'll continue as you grow.
Like you said, when you were meeting with the people, you figure out what they like. I've heard Brent Gove say, don't say, what did you think, but say, what did you like about
exactly
what you just saw? What do you like about the plan? Not what do you think? Because you say, what do you think? They'll think of reasons why not. But if you say, what did you like? They're going to focus on the positives. And by trying to figure out what it is that they like, then, some people will say, I like that it's cloud-based and I don't have to drive across town to get my checks. I like that I like the education, or I like the revenue share. So if you have someone who's interested in the revenue share, that might be someone that wants to grow a big organization. But by asking those questions, you see what it is. And then, like you said, you talk to those likes. If they like the education, then you expand on that education.
Exactly. Yeah, and then you can, if they like the cloud base and the education, like Daniel said, give them a free 2-week pass into the world and meet them in there. Show them around for 5-10 minutes. Show them how they can go behind the information booth there, that orange circle, and take a 30-minute tour. You don't have to do the whole 30-minute tour with them. Just take 5-10 minutes to show them a little bit, and then they can take the tour themselves. Show them the education calendar at expcloud.com. And show them that we have, 50, 60 hours of training a week. Tell them about NAEA. And that's it. You're going to share more about the things that they liked. And if they're not interested, and most people aren't interested in revenue share, probably only 5 or 10%. The majority, hey, they want to sell more houses. They want to do X. And whatever it is that they like best, that's what you talk about. And now eventually, a lot of these people, they join, they get started. They start selling more houses. They get plugged into all the training, and they get their they sell their first house. They get stock. They go on social media and say, oh my God, I've been an agent for 10 years. I just joined EXP. I sold my first house and I got a stock award. I'm now an owner of the company. Thank God for EXP, right? And their friends of the office that they just left are seeing that. Well, geez, I've never gotten stock. Right. Then they cap and they get on social media again and start sharing with people that, man, I capped in 3 months and now I'm at 100% for the rest of the year. And I got another stock award, and then when they hit Icon, they obviously really get on social media and share that story, because now I hit Icon selling, 25, 30 homes a year, which they've been doing for 10 years. Right. And they got a little plaque, and they can say, here's my plaque from my old companies. Here's a box full of them. But when I hit the same level at EXP, yeah, I got a nice trophy as well, a glass trophy. But I'm also going to be getting my entire cap back in EXPI stock, which is life changing, right? And then as people hear those stories, they'll start reaching out, especially their broker made them mad today, or they're not happy for whatever reason. That's definitely when they're calling you. But even if they are happy, but they see how your life is changing and how excited you are and what you have that they don't, they start reaching out to you. And then of course, once that happens, and when that does happen, again, don't answer all their questions. Just thank them for reaching out. Tell them I've got a video. Let's get on a Zoom. I'll share some more information with you, and then do that, and then get them on a call with your senior business partners. Don't do it alone. You want to get other people involved, and that's the process. Like I mentioned before.
Yeah, that's awesome. And another thing, you know, sometimes you think, oh, 700 in 3 years. I think you've been with EXP for 3 years, but it's not necessarily that you went through all that effort of getting 700. You got 40, and then I'm sure you coached some of them, and they got coaching from everyone else in our group, which is awesome. So yeah, does anyone have any questions? Lewis had a question. He said, what video do you send them, and can we get that video? I think you were referencing the Why Partner With Us video from Jay Kinder. That was one of the videos that you started with when you were doing your initial call.
when I was working with Jay and Al, they had me, or Jay and Michael and Al, that video is all about them, and I was their ISA talking all about them, right? But with the new app that the guys just put together, they just did a brand new video. It's about 22 or 23 minutes long. It's based off like the Brent Go video, but it has a bunch of testimonials from our Honey Badger group. So that's probably the one that we should all start using now. You can still use the Brent Gove one, or definitely start using that one, because it's got some short testimonials in there. If they're a solo agent, those are the two you want to send.
The one in the Honey Badger app, did you say?
Yeah, that new Honey Badger app that that's being launched Thursday.
Okay. Yes. Yep. That's good. And that video for anyone on the call that doesn't have the app, that video is probably also on YouTube, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. The Brent Gove one is you can just go to themodelexplain.com. The one for Honey Badgers, I'm not sure if that's going to be on YouTube or not, because I'm thinking they're keeping it for our group, because it's all about our group, so it might not be out there.
Right.
But I'm sure your leaders will be getting the app. A bunch of you will be getting the app. And then what I do for my team members, if they're just getting started, hey, the app's only going to be $15 a month, so it's no big deal, and it's a really good app. So I would suggest to get it. But what I do for my agents that are brand new and don't want to spend the $15 yet or whatever, they can just text me the person's info, and I'll put it in the app and just send them the video, and try to get it going for them. And then as soon as you get one person that comes over that sells a house, and that agent starts making some revenue share, then they obviously, I'm sure, can afford $15 a month to use the app.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. You just went to the Coach Burt event, didn't you?
Yeah, I spent 5 days with Coach Burt down in Florida. It was phenomenal. Let's just say, I believe everyone needs a coach, right? We all do better when we know better. I believe that no matter what level that you're at, there's always another level. So we all want to get coaching and continue growing.
Yeah. You have any nuggets that you can share that come off the cuff from the Coach Burt event?
Well, he was talking. I went to two. One was becoming a person of interest, and man, he's a rock star. I can tell you that. And I just learned I got to do a lot more than what I'm doing. I got to start doing a ton more social media. I don't love social media. I'm really not really great at it. But you got to do what you're not comfortable doing if you want to, get to the next level. One of the characteristics he talked about of the top 1% is boldness. You got to be bold. You got to, understand your product or whatever it is that you're sharing with people, and be bold and not be afraid to get the information out there. So that's a big one. Another one is, hey, it doesn't have to be perfect either, right? In the beginning, and think about when you first started selling houses, your first seller. Was that first listing presentation very good? Maybe you had someone come with you, but on the very first one that you did yourself, was it very good? Probably not, right? And
Right.
you got a little bit better and a little bit better as you continued to grow. Or your first buyer presentation. It's all about, consistency and continuing to do it, repetition, and you just get better and better as you get started, right? I do a podcast now every Wednesday at 12 noon. I'm going to be interviewing Vincent Koo today. He's not even in my, he's in my sideline, like you said, a cousin, right? But we become friends from going to all these events. And he's happy to jump on. We all work together to help each other grow. But I see Jay and our senior business partners above us who are doing podcasts, interviewing people. So I finally started doing it maybe, I don't know, 6-7 months ago. I only was on Facebook and on LinkedIn, and that's it. I was on nothing else, but I got a virtual assistant who knew a lot more than I did when it comes to that kind of techie stuff. And he got all my stuff set up. And now I do podcasts every week. The other thing he brought up, and you guys might have heard about this as well, or heard about a book called The Gap and the Gain. I just bought it. I haven't even read the whole thing yet, but hearing people talk about it, that a lot of us live in the gap because we're thinking, well, I'm here and I need to get here. And I feel bad because I'm not here. And you're living in that gap. But you got to remember, okay, where were you, a year from now? Where were you 5 years ago? And when you start thinking, well, geez, 3 years ago, I had nobody in EXP. 2 years ago, I only had, 30, and I want to get to, my goal was 500. And I figured, and I had a 5-year goal, right? That's another thing.
A Rob Flick plan, kind of.
Yeah. We definitely overestimate what we can do in 6 to 12 months, but we underestimate what we can do to, 3 to 5 years. So we all think, hey, we can get this big, huge revenue share. And some people can because, they're just really influential, or they get some really great people underneath them, whatever it might be. But I had a 5-year goal. And if you call 2 people a day, 5 days a week, like I said, that's like, you're going to talk to like 500 people a year. It's just a numbers game. You'll have a certain amount of people that join. And I figured if I did that consistently for 5 years, I would hit the 500. Well, we did that in 2.5, but it was because of the consistency, right? And with me only having 3 people in 6 months and only making that first $408 check, which took, I forget, it was like 6 months by the time, I don't remember the exact month, but by the time I started EXP, which was January of 2019, so February was my anniversary date. And so February, March, April, May, June, I think it was about 5 months by the time I got that first check. And I was working, calling those leads or calling agents. You would think, geez, in 5 months, you only make $400, people quit. But you got to have a vision, and there's people that, and there's hundreds of them, right? Just right, thousands of them in EXP that do have a great business because of the model with the revenue share, that it just takes time. And where they're at. And it might take me 2 to 3 times longer to get to a certain point compared to some of the big guys, but I'm okay with that, right? Where else can you go and make 20, 30, 40, 50,000 a month and more over and above your real estate sales by just sharing the opportunity? There isn't anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just another income stream, right?
Are you still selling real estate?
Only to friends and family. So maybe 1 or 2 homes a year, but not focusing on it anymore. I've been there, done that, and I really want to help. I spend my time changing people's lives. I help spend my time coaching my team members, doing trainings, doing a lot of 3-way calls and Zooms, and helping them reach their goals. And of course, like Zig Ziglar says, right, if you help enough people get what they want, you're going to get what you want.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on with us. I don't know if anyone on the call has any questions for you.
Yeah, any last questions before we wrap things up? Just raise your hand. If you do, I'll take you off mute. Definitely also get to the live events. Big decisions are made at big events. So the more events that you go to, it goes from your head to your heart, for sure, yourself. Same thing with your team members, and then any prospects. If you got some prospects that are interested in EXP and they've been looking at it, but they're just not, pulling the trigger. If you can get them to a live event, I'll even pay for their ticket in their hotel. I just ask them to pay for their airfare or whatever, so they got a little skin in the game, and get them to an event. Most people, not all obviously, but most people will end up joining once they get in that environment and see, oh my God, for $85 a month, that's all we pay, and I have access to these people and to this kind of atmosphere, and it's a game changer if you can get them to an event. Same thing with your team members, or if you haven't gone to one yourself, if you get your team members to the event, until you go to the live event, you're thinking, hey, this is all great. Company offers all this stuff that no one else does. But it's a whole nother story when you meet these people face to face, and you can talk to, from Glenn Sandford, the owner, get your picture taken, have a conversation with him, or Dave Kennard, president, or any of these high level people. Unlike any other company that I've been to, at these big events, the leaders stick around all the time. A lot of times they speak at different events, and then when they're done, they go to their hotel room or whatever, get a massage or whatever they do, they disappear. They don't hang around the whole time, especially the guys that are speaking all day, right? Well, at all the EXP events, the people that are on stage speaking, they're hanging around, answering questions, and just doing life with us, because we're business partners, and that's just it. Unlike any other company, we actually own our company. We, the company's own, I don't know the exact numbers, but I heard like 70 something percent just from us agents, right?
Right.
And that's a game changer. So get to the
so
events.
big takeaways that you mentioned was make a list. Everybody should make a list. Try to have at least 2 conversations on a daily basis. Think about the listing agents on the homes you're showing, or the showing agents on the homes that you list. Agents that you've worked with in the past. Veronica and her crew here locally in Orlando, they've started putting on monthly events here. So if you can't fly somebody out to Las Vegas or Arizona or Mexico, which sounds great, and I always want to be there, and I haven't gone to any of those events, I would encourage you all to start small. Like Yolanda and Jeffrey went to that open book event, remember, where we were sitting at the table together? And that's just an environment where it's mostly EXP agents, and they're all just sharing on how to be more productive in real estate, and it's usually free. And if you bring in someone out from outside of the organization to something like that, there's energy there that they're probably not getting where they came from. So
that's right. You want to pour into your people, even if the people there, most of them are your friends that you're talking to, right? And they're not ready, or they're not interested in coming. Still offer them to get on the free trainings that you guys offer. Invite them to some of the free events that they're doing. They don't even talk about EXP at a lot of these different things. It's just training and collaboration. And you get people in that environment. And if you start giving everything you got, and everything your senior business partners got to help them sell more houses and to become more successful, and you start doing more than your own broker does, they're going to be at some point thinking, man, Melissa's been helping me more than my own broker. Maybe I should, talk to her a little bit about, getting more plugged in. Right. And that definitely will happen. And the last nugget I'll leave you with before I got to jump on to my 11 o'clock is, say you run out of people, you talk to everybody that and you run out of agents that Well, we never really run out of people. If you think about it, you can start talking to your college mates, to your family and other friends that are not in real estate, to your dentist, to your doctor, especially any kind of professional people whatsoever, and reach out to them, start a conversation, and say, hey, you know what? My business is expanding in whatever state that they live in or whatever city that they live in. I need a great agent there. Who is your agent that helped you buy your property, or who's the best agent that you can think of that if I was coming into town to buy myself, or your mother was going to buy a property, who would you refer that to? I'm looking for someone that's humble, but hungry and smart, that has good real estate experience, selling a fair amount of houses. Who would you recommend? And most people can think of an agent, and then you call up that agent, and I guess, they probably won't pick up the phone call, right? You just leave a message, say, hey, Daniel, this is Andre. I just got on the phone with my cousin, my aunt, my whoever, my best friend in Orlando, Florida. And I asked them who would they recommend to that would be the best agent in that area, that's humble, hungry, and really has a great real estate background. And they said, you're the only person that they would recommend. So, hey, give me a call back because I need a great agent in Orlando, or whatever the case is, right? So you can do that with anybody. And it's just a matter of reaching out and doing it over and over and over again. You're going to get no's, you're going to get maybes, you're going to get not now. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. It's you follow the process. And if you follow the process, intrigue, get them to consume the information, get them on a 3-way call or Zoom, and then follow up. Those are really the 4 steps. And if you just continue doing that over time, your business will grow.
Well, thank you, Andre. I know you have to